Hey folks, it's your pal Dan Meyer here with what we might call a lesson exploder, where I separate the pieces of a lesson I taught, or maybe just the teacher tune-up, where I ask you to help me tune up a piece of a lesson I wasn't so happy with. So this right here is a lesson from the Desmos Middle School math curriculum called Balancing Moves, where students are finding the unknown weight on different sides of a balanced or unbalanced hanger using algebraic operations and relationships. The part I liked about this was the launch. I thought the launch went pretty well. Have a listen.
Lots of stuff going on right there. My question for you is, can you and your partner talk about how to make this balanced? There's lots of different ways to do that. Can you do it with lots of shapes, very few shapes, big shapes, just one kind of shape? There's different ways to do this. That's your first task right here. So I'm going to go ahead and unpause you folks. I'm going to paste you just to that one screen and unpause you over to you folks. Let's see how many different ways you can balance it.
Listen.
Partner does one.
Listen.
You do one.
Listen to that.
I'm going to see what happens here.
That's music. Oh, I love that right there. Yeah, that right there. I can't do much more than that myself. I love how we all start the lesson together. And my work there is to emphasize the question in very concrete terms. How can you make them balance? So we all know what we're up to. And then also to emphasize that there's lots of ways to answer that question, lots of ways to be mathematically smart. Use a few shapes, use lots of shapes, use one shape, et cetera, et cetera. And students have internalized that, and if it's successful, when I use the dashboard to unpause students, they launch out. And there's lots of conversation and chatter and a sense of social collective work we're all up to. I'm into that right there. So here's where the lesson went after this is walking around, checking out work, sharing some stuff, doing some direct instruction here and there. I'm at students' desks now and then, chatting. It all kind of builds towards one particular screen, which is just a multiple choice question. It's multiple choice is all it is, but students have done so much dynamic work prior to this that we're about to have like a 12-minute conversation about one screen. I've gone to different desks and said, hey, we know hanger A balances. Which of hangers B through G are balanced or unbalanced? Will you explain one of those to the class? So kids are prepped and primed. I'm gonna bring a kid up who does something I think really interesting with hanger B that I then fumble in ways I'm not happy with. So check it out right here. So the kid does a thing here where the kid crosses off the two green squares that are common on both of the sides of the hanger here. Okay, that's important context. And then check out what the kid does next and what I'm trying to do with that.
For each one of these, it equals 1.5 squares. So then for here, I said that this one cancels out that one, but then this is left over with 2 squares, so that's why I said B is not equal.
That right there's a trip, right? 1.5 squares? Who told you that you could split a square in half? Love it. Anyone have a comment about that? Agree, disagree? So your answer is that won't balance. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay, put a little X on B. Does anyone have a question about it or want to make a case that it does balance, in fact? Anyone want to say that it does balance? I don't know. I haven't thought enough about it yet. I'm curious what you think.
Crickets.
Okay, C coming up. Where's C? Thank you so much.
So that right there, like the kid did something very bright and chopped 2 squares up into 1.5 squares, and then like there's another 1.5 squares. It's very interesting. The student is correct. And I'm like, so, trying to get more value out of that, bring more students in, have more of a conversation about it. And it's just like my move there. Does anyone have any questions or comments about this? Obviously it did not elicit that from the group. It became a conversation of me and that student alone there. So I would love to know, what is your move in that situation to help turn more of the authority of the moment, more of the conversation of the moment, and therefore the learning of the moment over to the class and that student at the front versus just me and that student at the front. So let me know, Dan@desmos.com or @ddmeyer on Twitter, @ddmeyer on Twitter, or wherever you found this video. Let me know what you would do right there.